So hello, welcome back. We're doing another real estate interview, and today we're talking to Evan Walton and Stephanie Walton. Evan is Stephanie's father, and Stephanie has followed Evan Walton into the real estate business. Evan is a top producing, very experienced agent here with Addison Wolfe. And Evan, tell us a little bit about your real estate career.
Well, I've been in real estate since the maybe year 2000, 2001. My mom was a realtor prior to that, so I grew up around real estate. I was at Weichert for 10 or 11 years in Doylestown. I've spent the balance of the time here at Addison Wolfe. And that's it. Focused primarily on residential and then land acquisition and development with builders, but all kinds of residential resale.
What did you do prior to real estate?
I sold insurance. Yeah.
Connected,
not quite as fun,
but not.
yeah, connected but not. I mean, you know, a similar physical process, going to see people. It was really old-fashioned.
Right.
It was selling life insurance, basically door to door.
Wow.
Yeah.
But in those days that you could do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I had a map and a list of names, and that was my day.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you grew up in Bucks County.
I did. I grew up in Doylestown and went to Our Lady of Mount Carmel, graduated CB East.
Wow. What did you learn from your mom about being a real estate agent that was kind of helpful or not helpful?
Helpful at realizing that the phone is part of your life all the time and that your client is omnipresent.
Stephanie, when did you get your license?
I've been licensed about a year and a half.
And did you learn anything from your dad about the real estate life that you think that was really helpful to you so far?
Yeah, I would say, sort of going off what he said about my grandmom, his mom, that it's kind of 24/7, and so you kind of have to be okay with that and have a passion that's always going. It's not 9 to 5, it's 24/7.
Evan, what do you like best about real estate?
I like the gregarious nature of real estate. I like interacting with people. You know, and you know that I don't think we're selling, I think we're mentoring or guiding people or informing them. So if I know anything, I know the area, I know Bucks County, but I really enjoy working with people. I like being out physically all day, going and seeing properties. I would dislike, I think, being stationary all day. So I think the nature of the business, the social aspect of it, the fact that relationships can be formed from it, there's a lot more to yield besides a paycheck. I think it's a way of living, it's a lifestyle, and it affords you to meet all kinds of people who walk in all different paths of life, and they can become peers and friends, and so that's what I really like about it.
So if you're sacrificing some personal time, you're gaining the ability to have relationships with people.
I think if you can look at it all as under one umbrella, and then not look at those two spaces as having to be defined as separate.
What do you find personally the most challenging thing about real estate?
I think staying on top of what is new information and the contracts and being on the legal side of it. Like, I think as I've been in this 20 some years, it's become more litigious, and I think protecting our clients, so being the most informed. I think it's hard for us as agents because we're on the move and we're salespeople, and we have to be responsive to a whole different other list of factors, but then protecting your client on the legal side, I think, is the hardest thing because it's become more and more litigious, and there's more regs, and there's layers. Like if you buy a house, and you have to understand township UNO, and then the contract, and if somebody backs out, how do you not get hurt? So I think that's the hardest part for us, is the technical side of it. So is staying engaged.
What do you like best about real estate?
What do I like best about real estate? I think it's being 21. I'm in a lot of uncomfortable positions all the time, but I'm comfortable there at the same time. And every single month that goes by, I look back and I can't believe how much I've changed and learned. So that's one of the most exciting parts about it for me.
When your dad was talking about counseling people and taking them through a really important decision, do you find that to be challenging at your age?
I have learned from him, and just from doing that for really a year, that if I don't know the answer, to just as quickly as possible say, I don't know the answer, I'm going to get it for you. And then that smooths the bumps, I feel, and I'm able to persevere.
What is the challenge for you? What's the most challenging thing?
Probably what we just touched on is that I've never owned a home, so to help people in the
Your
process.
dad needs to help you.
Yeah,
So it's on the slate.
that's hopefully in the near future I'll go through the process myself. But without having that experience, I think I still have a good amount of knowledge now after seeing all these transactions take place, to at least be able to shed a little bit of light to people and guide them to some degree at least with what I've picked up so far, despite not.
What's your client base? Do you represent people that are closer to your own age?
It's funny. I find like older people sometimes, I think, like me as an agent in a way, because maybe it's refreshing in a sense.
Yeah, it's a different energy completely.
Yeah, where I've actually found younger people sometimes maybe prefer an older person to work with. Which is interesting. Of course, close friends and things, they come to me for advice.
What in your insurance career did you learn about real estate sales? Was there something that helped you make that jump, or was it just completely new?
I think there's a lot of same disciplines, even though I think real estate, and maybe insurance as well, they're sales jobs by title, but and there are sales disciplines, like I need to send out mail every month, I need to follow up with clients, I need to have a system that keeps me on track to remind me to send people information to. So those basic sales disciplines, from insurance to real estate, it's almost the same box of tools. It's just then once you acquire the client or you start working with them, or they decide to choose you to work with, then it's different. I'm showing them, maybe it's not even that different. When you're showing somebody a life insurance product, you're trying to show them why this is the best fit for their need. And I think also then for a home, what we want to do is ask, what do you want, and what can you afford, and let's figure out how we can check as many boxes as possible. And then what are the things that are important to you, like what school district do you want to walk to get coffee, do you want to have a bicycle trail near your house, horses, cars, antiques, whatever it is. So that's then it becomes a personal engagement. But the toolbox from real estate, or from insurance to real estate, was a very similar toolbox in that regard.
And for you, since this is your first career, what do you think about you as a person is really helpful in your career of real estate?
I think staying positive and putting a positive twist on everything is something I am able to do, and that has assisted me here greatly.
At Addison Wolfe in particular.
Yes. Although there's positive energy all around here.
No, you're very
and
positive.
so it's reflective, with everyone too. And so, I would say that the need for that here, in real estate, you have to be positive in certain circumstances. I saw that I had that and I could run with it.
Yep. What is the most surprising thing, given that you're a legacy realtor? What was the most surprising thing for you when you started?
I don't find myself to be surprised by a lot of things, I have to say. My grandma did it, he did it, my aunt did it, my mom did it, and so maybe that's a good thing in a way, that I haven't been knocked off my socks. I've been sandpapered, I'm ready for everything. It feels like that, at least.
Yeah. And what has been the most surprising thing about her career to you?
It's definitely, I think, her seamless walk, or in her wading into this. I think her personality was ready for it. There's some maturity in there that was either from long-term exposure to real estate, but I think her grounded, her centeredness, and then just the ability to interact with clients is really impressive. When we're out together and she's with me, I think really observes the process, and then when she decides to participate, it adds value.
Yeah.
But knowing where that space is.
That is really key, is knowing when to speak and when not to speak.
Yeah.
And a lot of agents have struggle with that when they first start, because they keep talking.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Was there anything, given your experience with your mom, was there anything that blindsided you when you started? Anything super surprising about being a realtor you didn't anticipate?
Maybe the emotional side of buyers and sellers, like it's something I didn't see in insurance and never saw through her lens, except maybe seeing her respond, but not understanding why. Like, you know, residential resale is an emotional roller coaster for the client, and sometimes they let you know that,
Yeah.
and you get, you know,
Well, and it's a time of change for them.
It
too.
is.
So they're always going through two things at the same time. They're
Yeah.
going through whatever their change is and the stress of purchasing a home or selling a home.
correct. And I think there's other factors that maybe we don't see as agents when you become an agent. The fact that maybe on the other side of that transaction there's a challenge in the home life, or there's been a change in financial status, or there's things that make the transaction compromised. So they're already distressed, and I think sometimes we wind up absorbing some of that, and we have to learn to absorb it and filter it out.
Yeah.
You know, that it's, you know, we can't let that get in the way of the transaction staying healthy, and you have to let them vent sometimes.
No. And are you comfortable with that, Stephanie? or-
Yeah, I think you just have to lend a shoulder and have like let it out sometimes. Yeah, I'm comfortable with dealing with that. I have 3 sisters, so that, you know, put me through it, and I feel really good at managing people's emotions.
Talking to maybe people thinking about getting their real estate, or talking to people who have had realtors before, what would you like to tell them about being a realtor that you don't think they know?
I think a lot of real estate is relationship based. I think a lot of sales jobs, or sales in general, has been put on a different shelf, or moved to the internet, or it's been the human contact has been removed from it. I don't think that's going to leave this business, and you better be prepared for that. It's being a shoulder to cry on, or being there to celebrate. It's definitely not something they teach in class. They teach you about the law of real estate and how to market, everything else, and ethics and all that. But when you're interacting, it's about listening, and it's about acknowledging opportunity when it's around you. You know, whether you're in a social situation, I mean, you're a realtor all the time, and so you have to acknowledge that. You can't go home at 5 o'clock on Friday and then go to, you know, an event and not in some way have your ear. There's a real estate thing that turns on that you can't.
You have to be that guy.
You have to be that guy. So whether you learn how you do it in a very I guess forward way, or if you do it in a more passive way, you have to acknowledge that business can come from anywhere at any time.
And what would you like people to know about the real estate life that you don't think that they know?
Probably that it takes years and years and years you can't just start, and then, because there's so much you have to learn, every transaction you learn so much, and you bring it to the next one, and then you bring that to the next one, so, you know,
Forever.
and the first one is going to be very difficult, and you're going to need a lot of help. It's not something you do on your own. I think that's something important too, is even though you are independent, each agent, you rely on one another for information and guidance.
What is your, of 20 years worth of real estate, what's your favorite real estate story that you feel comfortable telling on camera?
Well, I don't know if this is the greatest story ever, but being at a property and watching a car pull up, and I said, "Oh, that looks like Tina Fey," those people. And then they got closer, and I said, "Wow, really looks like Tina Fey." I was just standing, and then they got out of the car, and she walked up and said, "My name is Tina." I said, "Oh, you are Tina Fey." So I didn't know they were coming. I didn't know who was showing up to see the property. So that was just curious. It was so, and then it's part of the charm of the whole business that every day there's a little book of stories that's going to be,
Did that throw you at all? Did you still feel comfortable, or did you feel like I am off my game?
It's funny, like initially, I was kind of just entertained by it, and I thought, I'll just talk to them like people. They're just house shopping, and they were pleasant, nice, and walked through the house and all
Well, and
the.
you know they were qualified.
I assume they were qualified. I don't want to make any assumptions. They could get us in trouble. But yeah, they seemed qualified, but they asked normal questions like they obviously had kids. She asked about is there some place to do gymnastics. I had kids in gymnastics. We had normal dialogues, but so it was just funny.
Yeah.
I probably
How
initially.
many transactions have you done so far?
You would think I would know the number, but no more than 10.
No more than. And what was your favorite one?
My favorite one,
Not that you didn't love all of them equally, but just what would, and it can be for any reason. What was or what was the one that sticks out the most?
the one that sticks out the most came from a floor call. It was a mid-century modern ranch
Great,
that
yeah.
I got from a floor call, and I was very nervous at the time dealing with floor calls.
Mid-century that you have no connection to whatsoever.
Yes. Even being the second oldest. Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so I admire it, you know. And so it was the most hands-on transaction I've had yet, and I took it from the beginning to the end, from the call to the closing.
Converted it to an
Wow.
appointment, into a listing, into a transaction.
That is very cool.
So that
Yeah.
one stands out the most.
So show up for your floor time.
That's right.
So now it's the lightning round. So the lightning round are fun questions that we ask, and they're not allowed to think about their answers at all. So this is the lightning round, which means it's the lightning round.
Okay.
Don't take time. Okay, describe yourself with one word.
Awesome.
Describe your dad with one word.
Exciting.
So, okay. I'll take that.
And describe yourself with one word.
Human.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome. If you could turn yourself into an animal, what would the animal be?
I guess I would be a wolf.
Why?
They're cool looking.
And what about being a wolf would be helpful in being a realtor?
I guess I could run quickly from listing to listing.
See, I was
Yes.
thinking, eat your prey.
Yeah.
And if you could turn yourself into an animal, what animal would you turn yourself?
I decided in those few seconds, turtle.
What? Was there something about being a wolf that turned you into a turtle?
Is that a response?
Well, I decided
Wolves
how long
can't
does a wolf live, and then I just thought I think turtles live a long time.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So what about being a turtle would be good in your real estate career?
Maybe that's obvious, but if you have 50 years in it, that's something it's irreplaceable.
And you can also take your house with you. So
Yes, you don't have to go through it yourself.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So if you wrote a book about your real estate career, what would the title be?
I don't love your car.
Oh God, isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
And what about you? What would so far? What would the title of your real estate career be?
The book, you mean?
The book.
Oh, the book. Just jump in. Just jump in.
Just jump in. I like that a lot. Well, thank you so much to Evan Walton and Stephanie Walton here at Addison Wolfe Real Estate, and we hope we see you again for the next interview.